Yes, it's a horror movie, but it's also a lesson on peer pressure. Don't do things just because your friends say it's cool, because it could turn out like this. What's up, flick fans? Welcome back to the channel. A24 has a brand new film. It's called Talk to Me. Is this the scariest movie of the year? Is it the most frightening premise? We're going to get into all of it. Have you seen the prequel? Talk to You.
Let me talk to you.
No way.
Let me talk to you.
When a group of friends discover how to conjure spirits using an embalmed hand, they become hooked on the new thrill until one of them goes too far and unleashes terrifying supernatural forces. This film is obviously rated R, strong, bloody, violent content, sexual material, and language throughout. Did I say strong, violent content? On the level of some A24 horror movies you've seen in the past when we're talking about horrifying and unnerving imagery all throughout the movie. It's bloody, it is occasionally violent, and it's going to satisfy the crave of both horror fans and those who are looking for something a bit deeper in a horror movie. You may not even be fans of your typical jump scare-centric horror films, and I'm always looking for something more in a horror movie. First of all, it has to entertain me. Then you have to at least make me feel frightened while I'm watching. Maybe not scare me the entire time, but give me a compelling story, have scares throughout, and you're going to satisfy those cravings. Talk to Me was so different than what I expected, because I expected it to be an A24 horror movie. It feels like those types of movies from this studio. There's always slower pacing, you're building characters, you're using this artistic look and feel to tell a story, and sometimes that works. I go back to a film like Hereditary. That's like the all-time A24 horror movie for me. I won't lie to you. This is like the best of both worlds. It has that artistic touch to it, but it also brings the scares in a way that I think is going to unnerve and affect the more general audience goer, someone who just looks to be scared all throughout the film. And it doesn't solely rely on jump scares, but there may be one or two in there that works. Now, to answer the question I proposed at the beginning and in the thumbnail, is this the scariest movie of the year? It all depends on how you like to be scared. Because Talk to Me relies on the frightening idea of conjuring spirits and gathering all your friends together, and they approach this like a drug. These teens, as dumb as they are, and we'll get into that here in just a second, they use this as a way to get high, but they get high off the idea of conjuring this spirit through one individual's body. And, well, Austin, how is that cool? Why do they care about that? Well, they're making fun of it, they're laughing at it, they're using their phones and filming it, they're, getting popular off of what this is becoming, and more people are wanting to join in on the fun, and more people are wanting to experience what this is all about. Now, that idea is going to cause a rift in the target audience, because if you think too deep about it, it's like, okay, all of the teens that we're seeing in this room, and at the beginning there's a scene where there are a lot of people there, and they're watching this happen, they're watching this go down. Is there not one person to stand up and say, this is probably going to cause really bad things for our future? I mean, there are some in there who are hesitant, some who are terrified, some who are way too young to be in there in the first place. But could there not have been one guy to stand up and go, do we want to die?
What the f*** is this?
And where I'm providing pushback, one of the characters, he's religious, he's not even wanting to engage in sexual activities, yet he's sitting there like, oh, this is fun, demons. Even though I'm religious, demons are cool. So it's like, you are either lying to yourself about everything that you believe in, or this one thing that should be the worst of all of the things, you're like, So
Why?
Probably my biggest issue with this movie was turning my brain off when it came to how dumb these characters are, but at the same time, if they're not that dumb, then there is not a movie. So it goes both ways. There had to be a film to work off of this premise, and once you get past that, the premise is really cool. And once you get invested into what these teens are actually doing and kind of passing this around like a drug, it almost has the same impact as It Follows a couple of years ago, when they integrated something completely unexpected with the way that this spirit, demon, whatever you want to call it, moved. That's similar to what they're doing with Talk to Me, because this is something that teens in this movie feels like they thrive off of, they want, and they need a little bit of it in their lives. And that is really great. I mean, that's a cool concept, and it plays out in the most terrifying, horrifying, and frightening way you could imagine without overly relying on jump scares. And that, for me, is a huge win. Also, getting past the mindset of the kids, I really like our characters in this film. Each one of them, they have something to them that makes them appealing. The relationships between the kids, when it comes to taking care of those that we love and those that accept us, that becomes a theme as we get into the second and third act of the film, and something tragic happens to this family or group of friends that we see, and it all comes from their decision making. So, the more I talk about it, the more I'm thinking about the fact that, yeah, they're doing really dumb things, as all kids do, as I did at one point in my life, and probably continue to do. And it backfires against them in the worst way. It's like this entity, what we're dealing with, and I'm not going to spoil what that is, it's using their lack of knowledge and their lack of brains that have fully developed and saying, here's something that you can do, and here's how I find a way in and
take your soul.
all of their bad ideas and decisions at the beginning of the film, it comes back to haunt them in the worst way towards the end. So in that way, I guess it kind of makes the movie even better. And the film, it tackles grief in a significantly deeper way than I expected, and it is one thing on its surface you can see just from the trailer the type of movie you think it's going to be, but as we progress, these characters, their arcs, they get deeper and you learn more about them, resulting in, I think, a deeper connection with them by the time the film ends. And the way that this movie wrapped up, some are going to be left like, oh, wow, that was disappointing. But for me, I think it wrapped up in the best way possible, especially that final shot that we get in the film. Something snapped in my brain and I said, that is actually brilliant. I think they ended this in the best possible way that they could have. It's not going to be satisfying for a lot of people, but for me, I love the decision. It's bold, but it's fantastic. And finally, the filmmaking. Danny and Michael, our directors here, do a wonderful job of building that sense of atmosphere that is so consistent throughout. The pacing was great. 90 minutes. It's a 90-minute movie. It's a miracle. It feels like we don't ever get that even with horror films. They're always too long. This was the perfect length. It was just long enough.
That's what she said.
Atmosphere, cinematography, score, lack thereof. At times, the idea to show restraint all throughout the movie. It's like we could have just thrown in the most conventional jump scare here, but we decide to linger on something in the corner or linger on this darkness, and that was such a bold decision at times. And A24, they're going to do that, but sometimes they can push that. It can be too artistic to where it's not scary anymore. It's not entertaining. This is the best of both worlds, and it may be the best combination of the two that could appeal to both audiences that I've ever seen from A24, even more so than Hereditary. I wouldn't say it's better than Hereditary, but just from that standpoint, yeah. I guess my final criticism, a few of the supporting actors aren't as strong as our leads, so not the best performances all the way around, but I guess the ones we're focused on, they were really good. That's not all that matters, but it's definitely important. Before I give you my score, I know I've been teasing it, but there's another A24 movie I saw called Past Lives. I'm working on a very different type of video for that, and stay tuned next week. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, baby. Also, if you want to drop a like, that would be great. Talk to Me is an unforgettable horror experience. The atmosphere is built up brilliantly, and the imagery is haunting. These characters make ignorant decisions, but the repercussions provide a story that will keep viewers engaged from start to finish, and the pacing is fantastic. I recommend going out seeing this with the crowd. It's definitely worth it. And like I said, 90 minutes, not too bad at all. Thanks again for watching. I'm going to go keep the lights on because it's scary.